Hello and welcome to TrollTraderCards.com. I'm Dave or Dave C, and Nationals is right around the corner. I only have a one-day Nationals. We're in Ireland. We're going to be a smaller one, but still draft is important. And today I'm going to take you through a couple of competitive drafts, probably two, and I'm going to tell you what I think about the format. So here we go into our first pack. And kind of obvious one here. We have a Walk the Plank, which is one of the better uncommons. There is a decent amount of removal though. I'm taking Walk the Plank, but in black we have a Vanquish and a Fire Cannon Cast. Fire Cannon Blast. Oh, easy for me to say. Those are standouts of the pack. Other than that, we have a Wayfinder, one with the Wind, and probably a Direfleet Interloper. A lot of black cards in the pack. Anointed Deacon, if I was to go into Vampires, is there. So there's a decent chance out of this pack that either the Deacon or the Interloper come back, depending on what people are in. So that's decent. Something to keep note of. Walk the Plank might be one of the best uncommons. It's certainly up there, and I think it keeps you pretty open. Black pairs with a couple things. And I think just having unconditional removal, not something like Vanquish that depends on power, because as we've seen from Worlds, one of the main strategies in this format is just putting enchantments on creatures. So we have an Imperial Aerosaur, and the card is decent, but kind of is only busted in two decks, and that's red, white, and green, white dinosaurs. I could easily play it in a Vampires deck though for black, white, but at that stage is Interdiction just a little bit better than the Aerosaur. With those two, we also have Perilous Voyage, which I think is a very good card as well. And outside that, kind of slim pickings. We can pick the Fiery Cannonade to be in a Pirates deck, but if I think I wanted to go that way, I might end up taking the Phantom Fleet Firebrand, because 2-drops are really important in that aggressive deck. So it comes down to, I think, is Aerosaur better than Interdiction? And I think the Interdiction is more flexible than the Aerosaur, so I'm going to pick it. Voyage is also a good card, by the way, here, but I think it's worse than the other options. Ooh, a little bit of a lag. We're getting the old pictures and cards here. Huh, okay, so Vanguard is a strong card. It has no tribal synergy of note, but I still think it's a really strong card. But the format is kind of fast, so maybe you don't really have time to take advantage of this, but on the other hand, you can put one with the Wind or something on it, and it just becomes an absolute bomb. Skullduggery is one of the better black commons. I could take it to stay really open because it goes with the Walk the Plank, but I feel like abandoning a pick like this is probably wrong. This is a decent signal that I should be in a green archetype. I could be in green-black, which is just an Explore deck, and is kind of different from a lot of the really aggressive decks in the format, but I'm just going to pick the best card. It's important in this format, I think, to stay as open as you can as long as you can, and find not only the open color, but the open archetype, because not every card goes into every archetype in the color. So we have a Paladin of the Bloodstain to go with the Interdiction, or we have a Deadeye Tormentor to go with the Walk the Plank, and they're by far the best cards in the pack. Legion's Judgment is a fine card as well, and I think I would always play one of it, especially after Worlds and people are very high on the enchantments, and again we need ways to deal with those creatures. I think it is a third to these other two cards though. The thing about Tormentor is it's going to end up in any deck we play, where the same can't be said for the Paladin of the Bloodstained. I think I'm going to go with the Tormentor. I think that's close though. This is a kind of a miss of a pack. Nothing fantastic. There's role players in different decks. Depths of Desire is a good card. Nest Robber. Direfleet Hoarder. I'm going to go with the Hoarder and look at if there's a black X pirate deck. These two signals don't lend themselves to that, but Depths of Desire is a good blue card in any blue deck, and that's left in the pack, so maybe blue-black parts. Yeah, we're getting some decent blue signals here for Pirates deck, and there's still a Desperate Castaway. The Duskborn Sky Marcher is still here, and if I picked a couple more Vampire cards, I'd be all over that, but it only goes into one deck. It's kind of narrow where if I pick this, even if I end up in a different blue deck, it's likely to make my cut. I can pick the Castaways and stay black and not veer off, but I think it's only good in kind of blue-black parts. It's not as good as in the red-black parts, so that is already pushing me towards blue. Okay, so this is a hard question. Which one of these two cards is better? I think it's Runaround, but by a tiny bit, and definitely I would understand if people thought it was Depths of Desire. I could definitely be wrong. All of a sudden, there are some pretty decent Merfolk cards. Again, the green player isn't going to take these, only the Merfolk player. Why this is a Merfolk card is Merfolk has the better mana sinks in the format to use this. The Uncommon and the Jungle Delver as well. There's also still a Firebrand here. Ooh, that's a very late Skullduggery. This card is excellent. There's a Deathless Ancient. So, this is what I mean. The colors are open, but we can see that maybe we should be in Vampires. This is like a very late Vampires payoff. But we're already veering towards blue. Skullduggery keeps us open about archetypes, and hopefully we can get a bit paid off for Pirates with a Cutlass or two. It's very late to be going into a different deck. Ooh, so we thought this was a table from the first pack, and we were correct. It's a Pirate. It's a decent Explore card. We're definitely taking it. So as you can see, I put it in pick order of cards, of the cards I picked. Sorry, what order I picked the cards. But we can change it now. Ooh, that's a late Brute, and might mean the red-black aggro version is open. Skullduggery tables, okay. So we're going to keep an eye. That was very late. We're going to keep an eye on the red. None of these really matter, but I'm going to cut the blue card to hopefully keep the person next to me off blue. Pass the white card. This card isn't unplayable. I don't think we have the deck for it, but this card is definitely not unplayable. Ooh, okay. Pretty big draw towards blue. And we might have passed too many red cards to be realistically in red this pack, so hopefully we can pay it off for blue. This card is absolutely excellent. This is a very racy and swingy format, and to have just like a time walk someone's attack phase is excellent. This is a reason to be in Pirates as well, because I didn't know until I played this in Sealed with almost no Pirates. Its second ability requires you to have a Pirate in play. Seeker Squire also excellent. I don't think that's coming back in this pack likely, unless the black player is a Vampire player and really wants more Anointed Deacons, but Deacons have gone around already. Besides that, maybe we can get a Dive Down back. Dive Down is definitely playable in this format. Ooh, so Contract Killing or Lookout Dispersal. I think I need to sort by color here to see. We're already kind of going heavy on the curve, but I think Contract Killing is one of the better commons and might be something I have to take here over the Lookouts Dispersal. Lookouts Dispersal is a pretty good reason to be in Pirates, though. This is still, as much as I'm in tune with what the format's doing, there's still pick orders like this that I'm unsure. How high should I be taking Contract Killing over something like Dispersal? I have a Walk the Plank already as an unconditional removal spell and Run Around. I'm going to take the Dispersal. Also, it's uncommon, and I still want a little bit more time to play with cards like that. Ugh. This card is a complete... This pack is a complete miss for us. And I think we might get screwed over in this pack a little bit, because two other archetypes are just completely open on the way back. So we might have to look at what we can audible into. We have no Merfolk cards at all. So I am going to look at taking this Paladin of the Bloodstained and maybe moving into Vampires if there's nothing in this pack. Because as much as we can get rewarded in pack 3, maybe for staying in Pirates, we could also just not end up with enough playables. Okay, we have a Siren's Ruse. Do I want my first Prosperous Pirates or Siren's Ruse? Of note, I think Legion's Judgment and River Herald's Boon are actually the signals in this pack, and these are just mediocre. We have a lot of triggers for Siren's Ruse, but I think it's easier to get some of them later, where Prosperous Pirates might not be. Okay, Lookout is fine. More Vampire cards, more very strong Merfolk cards, but that's okay. Hopefully this means we're just going to get super paid off in pack 3, and there's still playables here for us, so this is actually turning out to be fine. Skullduggery number 3. I would probably play 3 Skullduggeries, but they've gone pretty late in this draft, and I certainly don't need them here. That's awkward. This card's very good. So is this card, actually. I think this card, there was a match at Worlds that showed it. This just stops attacks out of aggressive decks pretty bluntly. But to hedge a little bit, though I don't think I'm changing color because we're pretty even on both colors here, is the Pyromancer. Oh, this is sweet. There's another 2-drop. It blocks very well, and the blue-black Pirates deck makes a lot more treasures than the other ones. I kind of like Carvel, but we only have one. We only have one Explore card. That's not enough. Eek. This card is very good. You need to be. I like it in blue, red Pirates a lot, because you end up getting just enough treasures or like cards like this, and you can just accelerate into it, and then she's a real threat. Sailor of Means is fine here for us, though. Another River Herald's Boon. I like this card a lot. Deacon came all the way back. I guess there's no more hedging. There's no way we turn into vampires all of a sudden, but ooh, we got our second Prosperous Pirates. Hopefully a Siren's Ruse comes back around. This is Duress for the board. Spreading Rod is also nice against the flip enchantments. I'll give the person next to us the late Jungle Delver. Hopefully, I think they're cemented in Merfolk if they are already, but we can give it to them. That's a slight difference between leagues and normal drafts. I think if we're drafting for nationals there, we take the Jungle Delver, because the signal has already been sent. So giving the person next to us like their last couple playables isn't relevant, and this format can be pretty harsh if 2 people end up in the same archetype, and you can be scrambling for playables. Siren's Ruse did not come back around, so maybe it's not the... None of them did. I think I saw 2 in that pack, so maybe it's not the best sign that this archetype is wide open. Let's have a look, though. 15 playables coming into this last pack. That is not the worst. These Prosperous Pirates not looking fantastic, unless I have a payoff for treasure, but it does mean that we're close to just being able to splash a color. We have 2 Explore cards. We have a Sailor of Means. If we open a Lightning Strike or something, I'm probably just taking it. The blue-black 5-drop part is ideal for all these treasure makers as well. Cutlass is a card I really need, and we haven't seen one of. Not seeing any Cutlass in 2 packs also raises alarm bells. There's a chance we should have just been vampires here, and maybe I ignored those signals a bit too long. The 6-drop 4/4 flying vampire that comes back coming that late, maybe it's something we should have audibled into. We certainly would have got rewarded in that pack. Vampire cards were flowing pretty easily, and a couple of Legion's landings. Woohoo! Well, isn't this pack beautiful? Not only do we get to take an extremely good rare, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 great blue cards. There's not a chance that one of these doesn't get back. And it's likely enough to be something like the Storm Fleet Spy. But even if it's not, I would love the Fleet Aerialist to come back. But if it doesn't, we still get another lookout, or I'll probably take my first ruse over the third lookout. But we'll see how the deck is looking when it comes back. But packs like that are sweet, something you know you're going to table. So this is an interesting one. Do we take one with the wind? Probably not. Some of our creatures have evasion already. If some of our creatures have evasion already in blue, is Mark of the Vampire just better with one with the wind? Another tiny consideration, if we're looking at tiebreakers here, is if we take Mark of the Vampire, we leave 3 blue cards in the pack, and it's likely one of them comes back again. And we've sent out a Siren lookout already, so there's a chance another lookout comes back, and that's better with Mark. So I think Mark of the Vampire is the pick again. Now we passed all those Merfolk cards in pack 2, and yet a Shape of Nature is a pick here. That's big. Maybe it's no one's a Merfolk. That can happen, and you just see these insane cards really late in packs going both ways. Ew. No one in Vampires either, so we might just always fighting over the same archetype. That's kind of nuts. But Dark Nourishment, what's that third pick here? Decent for me. I think Nourishment is just worse than a Contract Killing, though it can go to players. Besides that, I think this Blade is also fine. We have enough evasive creatures, but we really want to cut this. Mark of the Vampire number 2 would be also decent, but I think taking the removal spell is a little bit better. Bam, here's a Cutlass. That's fantastic. We're slamming that. We could have had like 7 Deacons in the deck, though I don't think you actually want that many Deacons. There's also an Unfriendly Fire where you can splash easily, but that's not the kind of power card I want to splash for, I think. Cutlass is excellent. I think I just need more 2-drop creatures. I don't think I can take the Siren's Ruse. Chart of Course is also really strong, but I just want some creatures in my 2-drop slot here. So I think taking the Looter is best. Though Castaways is really good with Cutlass. We have a Sailor of Means for it. I think we're still on the lookout. Or the Looter even. It's Looter or Chart of Course. But I think in pack 3 we have to consider Curve a lot more. Wow. Yeah, so just there's no one on my right in Merfolk, so there's just good Merfolk cards going both ways. That's kind of nuts. Means that maybe I did a bad job and I should be the Merfolk player. Another Mark is pretty excellent here. Opt is a card I'll definitely play. It's just, I think everyone's just in parts. So we have some really good dinosaur cards here as well. It's hard to make this card work, but there's a green-white, acceleration dino deck that this card is insane in, so no one's in that. Take the Opt, I guess. An Arsonist still in the pack. Arsonist is only okay. We can take another Opt. I think it's the card we're most... no, with 2 Mark of the Vampire Windstrider might just end up in our deck. Okay, so the 2 great blue cards went, so there's 2 other blue drafters at the table, which means maybe we shouldn't be in this. I said I might take the first Siren's Ruse, but now with double Mark, I think I just want to look out. Yeah, so just no one's in Merfolk. That probably means we should be in Merfolk. Hey, I'll play a Blue Letter. We don't have that many strong synergies towards pirates, only a couple. So I think the lookout is excellent here. No one in Vampires. So the best guild, the best tribe, followed by the second best tribe, is undrafted at this table. That's insane. That means I've done something wrong as well, that I should be in one of those, because we're seeing very strong cards from both. So we've misread the table. Though, looking at our deck, I guess we got we opened 2 of our rares, so we kind of got lucky there. We kind of got lucky with them. These Prosperous Pirates not looking fantastic in the deck. Nothing to splash, no payoff for treasures. So let's divide these up. Very happy I took the lookout when I did. We didn't get another chance at a good 2-drop. Siren, the Sailor Mean's also not looking fantastic. And I can cut up Prosperous Pirates, I think. Spell's looking quite good. Do I play Opt or just a 17 to land? If I'm taking out a Sailor Means, that's less treasure. I could also just take out this Prosperous Parts, but then we got down to 12 creatures. Kind of wish I could splash this. But that's hard to do off treasure. Because, well, one, I've cut 2 treasure cards. But also, you want to activate it multiple times. Top one, late game. I think that has to just be the Opt. It leaves. Yeah, 13 creatures is a little bit on the low side. I kind of like 14 in these decks. Another 2-drop over something here would be useful. But I think I want to keep all these spells. Yeah, I think so. There's a chance I could cut Mark of the Vampire for like one of these creatures, but the creatures are so mediocre. I think the deck has ended up good, but I think I got the signals wrong. If it wasn't for these 2 opens, this deck would be kind of mediocre. I guess it would still just have a bunch of flyers, a Mark of the Vampire, and Cutlass. But is that good enough? I'm unsure. Okay. This looks decent, and we'll jump straight into the first round. See you guys in a second.